Ai! Limão!
Welcome back, cunts, to another episode of Why You Do This to Me, Titan Forge. Today's episode is just a tad different, as you've probably seen if you can read. This isn't a rant about a god, but about an item. This piece of shit is arguably the most polarising change to solo since they removed starter items. You know it's bad when one of the top searches when you Google this item is Smite Berserker Shield OP. The weird thing about this item though is that it's both my favourite item ever added and the worst thing to happen to solo lane since release Bologna. It's fun as fuck when you're using it, but it's the most frustrating thing in the world to play against if you're not an auto attack warrior. For starters, it's impossible to poke anyone who has this item out of lane once they get it done, especially on gods like Bologna or Osiris who have AoE auto attacks and can end up healing for 2 to 3% of their max health and mana every single auto. How the fuck do you compete with that? Gladiator Shield requires you to actually cast abilities and gives less sustain than this item. I don't know how Titanforge thought this was going to be okay. Gods like Guan or Herc have to use an entire ability plus a bunch of mana to get that kind of sustain, but anyone with this item gains mana instead of using it, and still gets the same health sustain without needing an ability dedicated to it. So you might have noticed I haven't mentioned the elephant in the room yet, that being Mr. Erlong Schlong over here. So where Bologna or Osiris can proc Berserker Shield in an AoE, at least it only hits for 50% effectiveness on additional targets. Erlang's dog, however, has no such limitations, and will proc the full passive effect on every single auto, giving Erlang effectively 40 or more health back every single auto attack. And you thought Scourge was broken. Oh, and on top of all that shit, he still has an AoE swing in his chain, making it even better. Oh, and on top of all that shit, he has an insanely fast swing chain, meaning he procs it faster than any other warrior. Oh, and on top of all that shit, he gets bonus attack speed from his 3 and haste, allowing him to do even more bullshit with this item. Oh, and on top of that shit, anyone who plays Erlang and buys this item needs to uninstall this game. Okay, maybe that's a bit far, but he's got to a point where the entire solo lane meta at a high level is just skip a blessing, get TP, and rush this item as early as you possibly can. Because as soon as you get it done and the enemy doesn't have it, you just win lane for free. It's so dumb that it's even creeping into other roles as well. I've seen ADCs and some junglers picking this item up too. While it's not insanely OP in those roles, it just shows you how busted this item really is in solo when gods like Erlang are just running around using it. I mean, just watch this and tell whether this item is fine. I promise you, you can't do it. In terms of what to do with this item to make it more fair and actually beatable, for starters, the interaction with Erlang's dog needs to be changed. Make it proc at 15% effectiveness like Kinsize does instead of straight up double procking the item. This item alone took Erlang from balance to one of the best gods in the game, so nerfing this interaction would help a little, though he'd probably still be top tier. From there, I think the passive is all that needs to be looked at really. The stats are pretty okay when compared with Gladiator Shield, given it has no upgrade path, but honestly, I think if you nerfed it to 0.5% max health and mana or something, it'll probably be fine. Maybe you could even remove the interaction with AoE basic attacks entirely, though I think that might kinda kill the soul of the item, given it's supposed to be a Death's Toll spiritual successor. I don't know though, I'm not a game designer, just a shitlord who rants about random stuff on YouTube. Hopefully Titanforge can come up with some reasonable nerfs to this item pretty soon, because right now it's completely dictating the soul lane meta by itself. But anyway, that's about it for today's rant. I know this one was a little different given it's not a god, but I felt this had to be done. If any of you guys main solo like I do, you know the feels of laning against this item when you don't have it yourself. But yeah, let me know what you want me to rant about next, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, you nerds.